Hello class, welcome to my Module 6 video discussion. Starting with question 1. I'm pulling it up right now, sorry. Consider the workplace culture of your own workplace, or if you are not currently employed, the culture of another organization in which you have membership, clubs, religious organizations, etc. Describe the organizational culture using the functional, interpretive, critical, and postmodern approaches to understanding organizational culture. How does each lens offer us a different way to understand the culture of your chosen organization? In what ways do the different ways of seeing culture help you understand your organization? So, for this question, I decided to pick Spokane Falls because I'm not employed and it's because I'm a member of this organization. Starting with the functionalist approach, this approach views organizations' culture based from the function of the organizations, at least from my understanding. On page 162, they show a table which talks about what makes an organization strong and excellent in terms of culture. So, looking at the table of traits of a strong and excellent organization, I could see some traits that our college has, which would make it fall under the strong and excellent category. For example, in one of the boxes it states, hands-on, value-driven approach that commits everyone to performance and productivity. That part is true for Spokane Falls because this is a college and colleges value productivity within the within their college. Another thing in the table which I can see in this college is, as I read from the table, rites and rituals that celebrate the organization values. I see that Spokane Falls does these events with students like food and movie things, and the clubs we have. These events that we do help promote diversity for our college, which is one of our values, I guess. Now, the next approach is the interpretive approach. This approach is very simple because the interpretive is a belief that culture is something that an organization has often to bring to their research. So, in order to do that, interpretive researchers need to observe an organization and then describe the culture on its own terms rather than fit their observations in predetermined theory. Now, viewing Spokane Falls from the interpretive approach, I can tell that this college has a lot of diversity, and that is because colleges in general like to promote diversity. We have a lot of exchange students that come to our college, and like I said before, we do activities like sharing food from different cultures to introduce us to other cultures. Spokane Falls just brings more culture in general from all the activities we have. This is discussed on page The interpretive approach is discussed on page 166 through 173. The last approach is the modern, the post-critical and postmodern. I honestly don't understand what this approach is really about, even after reading it a couple times. This one's a bit confusing to me, so maybe after I post this video, I can see what others have said about this, so I can understand what postmodern and post-critical are. Okay, question 2. Go back to the organizations you considered for your question above. Consider Poole and McPhee. How can your organizational climate be conceived of as a structurational process? Using Poole and McPhee's perspective and the organization you discussed in the previous question, construct a clear, full, and vivid explanations of how this might work. The structurational perspective by McPhee and Poole, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is an idea which is believed that an individual is unaware about how actions affect climate of an organization, and that climate is a function of organizational structure. The structurational perspective starts with the concept pool, which is what members of the organization describe the organization as, and from that starts the kernel climate, members that adopt commonly shared ideas to capture their understanding of the organization. Then the last part is the particular climate, and this climate is derived from the kernel climate. This climate is triggered when a certain situation takes place or setting of a place. So using this structurational perspective on my college, Spokane Falls is a college, that's why it's full of diversity. And I guess in this case, it can be the concept pool. The kernel climate would be a specific building. For example, Building 18 is the math and information technology. Their culture would be different from the English building. The particular climate would be the specific classroom, because the climate of a classroom only exists when there's class. So when there's no class, there's no climate. And particular climates are only triggered when certain settings occur. This was discussed on page 158 through 159. Question 3. The Shane's organizational culture model, and the organization you've used for your last two questions. Give a clear and rich discussion of organizational culture. Again, be specific and use each level of the model in your answer. Oh wait, this is question 3. Or oh yeah, I guess there's only 3 questions this time. I thought there was 4. Shane's organizational culture model is basically a belief which is thought that leaders of an organization embed and transmit and teach culture to others. This is found on page 162 and 163. There are 2 cultural embeddings for this model, and it's on page 163. The first one is for the model is the primary, where the leader chooses what to focus on and how to respond to certain events. The secondary mechanisms is how leaders structure the organization and produce what systems and procedure leaders adopt. For Spokane Falls, majority of the culture is brought from the diversity of people, but the diversity is brought to this college because of the people in charge of the college. They help promote more diversity for this college. And yeah, that's basically question number 3, and that's all for my video. See you guys next week.